Do you want to know how to qualify for paid surveys to earn more? Then this video is for you. My name is Michael and I have taken thousands of online paid surveys myself, and one question I very often get is how to qualify for more paid surveys, because a part of taking paid surveys is that sometimes you do not qualify for them, and that can be very frustrating. So many people want to know, what do you do to qualify for more? And based on my experience, after I've taken thousands of online surveys, I will in this video share 9 tips about what you can do to qualify more often and thereby earn more. So before we go over the 9 tips to qualify for more paid surveys, there's just a couple of things I want to make clear. First of all, how many paid surveys you will get access to and how easy it is to qualify will depend a lot on the country you live in. I will talk later about how to find the best options in your specific country, but overall that's just something to be aware of. In some countries there just are better opportunities than in others. That's just how it is, because companies are willing to do more market research in some countries than in others. So that's just, you just have to accept that. So in case you find out later after watching this video that paid service in general is not for you, then I have many other videos about other free ways to make money online, and we'll also leave links below so you can find information there. But that's just one aspect to be aware of. Another aspect to be aware of is that there is not a way to make sure you always qualify for paid service, because I often get that question, how do I make sure I always qualify for paid service? That's just not possible, because a part of taking paid service is that they do need to make sure that it's the right target audience, and even though they have a lot of tools that can help them do that, the different research companies and paid service sites, they will not always find the right service. So not qualifying for paid service is just something you have to accept if you want to make money by taking paid service. But there are things you can do to make sure you qualify for more paid service, and that's the options or the opportunities I will show you now. So let's go over those 9 tips so you can use them and implement them to qualify for as many paid surveys as possible and become less frustrated while earning. So the first thing you need to make sure to do when you join a service site, and I've just jumped to one of the many service sites I use called Ysense now, and you need to make sure to fill out your profile when you join a paid service site. And right now I'm in the profile setting, and you need to fill out the basics. Some service sites, it will take a few minutes and you will get paid for it, and others it takes quite a lot longer. So that's also part of finding the best paid service sites to get the most out of it, that I will talk more about later. But that's one thing. And I know that even though you fill out your profile, I know I often get the question saying like, oh, I filled out my profile, and I keep getting some of the same qualifying questions. Yeah, but that's, it's based on artificial intelligence or AI, where you fill out a profile and then sometimes, yes, you will have to answer the same questions again. Or yes, you will not always qualify even though you have filled out your profile and they say they will use it to match service with you. That's just a part of it, because there will still be errors, but filling out your profile will still make it possible for them to make it easier to match you, and that means there is a higher chance. That's just something to be aware of. So make sure to fill out your profile when you join a paid service site. The next tip is to make sure to also be critical with the service you take, because some services are quite interesting and great and works well, has a great user experience, and some of them are just silly, to be honest, because they just keep going around and around in circles, asking the same things or asking questions that doesn't make sense. So sometimes just be critical. If you have gone around a little bit in circles and you just see that it's not a user-friendly survey, then do not waste your time. You can always see how much you will get for your time and all that before starting. So be critical. Choose the ones that pay what you think is fair for you. And if it is a silly survey that is not user-friendly, they have not put any effort into making it user-friendly, then just close it down, start another survey. There are plenty of paid service and many great service sites, so it's good to join more. And then you can also just actually allow yourself to be critical and still earn a lot. The third tip is that when you do paid service, yes, sometimes there might be errors or there might be technical errors, because that just happens no matter what you do online in general. And if you encounter an error, then do screenshots, or in case you do not get paid for some kind of service, do what you can to prove it. For example, by doing screenshots, and report those errors, or report the errors to the paid service site where you take it on if there are errors. And then in some cases you will actually get paid for them if there's been some kind of mistake, and if not, then it will help others actually, because if it's a proper paid service site, they will take that feedback and say, okay, something is not working with this paid service, and they might remove it, so then other people will not waste the time. And if all of us do that, then paid service sites will become more critical, and all of us will find it easier to find a good paid service. However, it's not all paid service sites that have great support like that. But that's just one aspect of also joining best paid service sites. And if you do report things like that and you find out a paid service site do not reply or do not care, then just close your account and find another paid service site. There are so many great ones, so just focus on the ones that actually do care about providing proper service to us users. The next very, very important tip to be able to earn anything at all is to disable any ad blocker, because if you do not do that, an ad blocker is blocking you from earning in general. And if you have that, you will also be able to qualify for less, because they will just offer less service to you, because you can see that it does not make sense. Because taking paid service, they need to be able to track that you have taken it, and that will happen often in your browser, whether it's on your phone or your computer, and they need to track that to be able to pay you and to be able to match service with you and all that. And if you have an ad blocker installed, then that cannot be tracked in most cases, and thereby you will not get paid, will not qualify for service. So this is extremely important. If you want to use an ad blocker, that's of course up to you and your privacy concerns and all that. That's completely up to you. But if you want to take paid service, you need to make sure that it's not installed when taking the paid service, because then you cannot earn and you cannot qualify. The fifth tip is to be honest. Because yes, sometimes it can be tempting to lie a little bit, because you think that you know what they're looking for to qualify for the surveys. But most service sites anyway, they have systems in place where they track inconsistency, because they know that many people are actually willing to try to cheat service sites. So they have a lot of security in place, and they will be able to track this. So if you cheat in any way, then they will, in most cases, find out at some point. And if you do cheat, it goes against the terms, they will likely ban you, close your account, and you will lose your earnings. And even if they do not ban you, if you have inconsistent, poor quality answers, then in some cases you will just start getting less and less service, because they just not necessarily block you completely, but they will just give less service to you as a part of the matching process. So you need to be as honest as possible and not just try to lie randomly to try to qualify. That will not work in the long run. We have now gone over more than half of the tips, and before going over the next few, it would be really great if you could just take 1 second to like this video, because it can help it to be seen by more people, and I would definitely appreciate that support. The next tip is to make sure you take the paid service as early as possible. You can do that by either logging into the platforms. I have just jumped to one of the sites I'm using now called Opinion Pioneer, and you can see the surveys and then take them as soon as you can. You can log into the platforms regularly if you have a list over all the platforms that you're using, or you can use it. Some sites also have apps where you get notifications or you get emails. And the thing is that most paid service, they have a limited number of needed respondents. And if you do not take it right away, or not right away, it depends how many they need. Some needs like thousands, so then it's okay. But the earlier you take it, the higher a chance you have of qualifying. Even if you take it at the very moment that is published or you get the email, it can sometimes already have filled up, or you might not qualify. There's no guarantee. That can happen, because sometimes you might not get the email or notification at the very moment it is but published. That's just, there can be technical issues sometimes like that. So that's just something to be aware of. But overall, the earlier you take the service after they've been published, the higher a chance there is for you to qualify and get as many paid service as possible. So the next tip is just simply to do what is working, because many paid service sites are using different survey providers. You can see right now I'm on a site called PriceRipple that I really love using also. They have Your Service, Peanut Labs, and something called Daily Service. Some service sites have many more providers and things like that. So the thing is, when you start taking surveys, you need to give it a bit of time and be a bit patient. But once you test these things, then you will also find out the more you use it which service work for you. So just stick to the ones that work. If you take through a certain provider and you found out after taking 20 surveys that you only qualified for one, then maybe it's not worth it. If you then use another provider where you qualify for 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 10 or something like that, then stick to those. Then you will just not get so frustrated, because sometimes with your country or the profile you have just does not work well with one provider. So stick to what is working to save yourself time and frustration. Next tip is to manage your expectations, because this is very important, because I often get the question about how can I make $100 per day by taking paid service for an hour or something like that. And that's just, not gonna happen. You need to do it with the right expectations. And some people, they give up and they expect to qualify for every single survey and get paid $5, $10, $20 per survey after a few minutes. And then they just give up or they complain because they disqualify for a few surveys. And you need to do it with the right expectations. You will not always qualify. That is just how it is. And you will not make a full-time income or anything like that. Paid service is meant to be a way to earn some extra money and get paid to share your opinion at the same time. And if you're expecting to do it for a living or anything like that, you should not do it, because then you will just get disappointed and you will end up getting frustrated, not qualifying, not earning anything. The final tip is to make sure to use sites that offer a disqualification bonus, because there are some paid service sites that will pay you even when you do not qualify. And that's definitely nice. Usually, of course, it's not as much as you would get if you actually qualified, but it gives a little bit of extra money on the side and it takes some of the frustration away. And on my website, I have a whole article about some of my top recommended sites that do pay a disqualification bonus. You can see it right now on the screen, and I will also leave a link below so you can easily find it and go and check that out. Some of those sites would definitely be great to join to make sure you earn a little bit even when you do not qualify, because that will happen, as I mentioned. But let's finish up by going over overall how you can find the best paid surveys that give the best opportunities for qualifying and earning for you in your country. As already mentioned, to be able to get the best chances of qualifying, it is important you find the best paid service in your country, because what is best for me might not be best in your country, and if you join the wrong service site, you will more or less never qualify. And that's why I manually, after a lot of research, a lot of tests, have built out lists on my website about the best options in different countries. I will leave a link below so you can go there and check that out. And I keep updating this when I come across new, and I keep testing and doing research. And those sites are the ones that are best for each of these different countries. So if you want to get the most out of the paid surveys, then use the tips I have just shared and make sure to join the best in your country through the link below there. Go and check that out. But no matter what, I hope these tips help you and explain a lot about paid service so you can get the most out of it. And if the video did help you, make sure to hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out next time it's a video with tips and tricks about different ways to make some extra money on the side online.